bar mitts, hand guards, which is the best option for your Harley Davidson Sport Glide? Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you're enjoying the channel and the series. Please like, share, subscribe, leave loads of comments below, and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. So in this video, I'm talking about hand protection in the winter from the cold and the rain especially. Now, if you might have seen on my endurance ride that I utilised the bar mitts on my Harley Sport Glide for riding in the really cold and wet conditions. Now, I could have used heated gloves, either connected to the battery on the bike or a battery cell within the gloves itself. But I chose to save myself £120 for a start on the gloves, which might be one of the deciding factors for you, but also trying to go back to old school. Now, if you look at memphishades.com, they actually have a kind of a plasticky hand guard or hand deflector here that you can buy, and it's about $80 or something like that. And now, it is quite effective, but it's also quite limited as well. If you check out D-Cycle YouTube channel, he's a good fella, and he shows you how to install those, so it's relatively simple. But anyway, the problem with handguards is that yes, there is a wind barrier for your hands, but there's also still circulation around it, and the actual ambient temperature around your fingers is still really cold. Also, you don't get total rain protection from them as well. So whilst they are good up to a certain point, when you start getting into extremes and long distance riding, let's say if you're doing a commute, they're probably not the best option. So the next option then really is to go for these kind of bar mittens. Now, yes, granted, they're not the coolest thing in the world, and if you're looking for street appeal, then these aren't the best things, obviously. However, they are functional. Now, this is the process on which they work. If you research into winter clothing, or the effectiveness of winter clothing, you never want to wear skin-tight clothing. What you actually want to have is baggy clothing that traps air between your body and the clothing, or the layers of clothing. That trapped air, then your body can heat up that air, and that acts as an insulation barrier. Right, okay. It's exactly the same here with these bar mitts. They actually cover the hand controls, and what you want to do is make it almost like a sealed fit around the hand controls, so that you've got a trapped pocket of air in there which you can stick your hands in. So therefore no cold air is circulating around. It keeps out the rain as well, and that's going to be your best option with wearing just normal winter weight gloves in there, or wearing lighter weight gloves, but you're still going to keep nice and warm, or warmer I should say, with these bar mitts. Right, let's talk about them specifically, and then I'll talk about what the deficiencies were of them. Okay, so I've just put these bar mitts loosely on here because I had actually taken them off now, but essentially what you do, you put the bar mitt on the edge of the bar like that. Now, I got these generically from eBay. Now, you can pick up, there's so many different types. You've got to be careful which type you pick, because some might be rated for a scooter, some might be rated for a particular type of bike. So you tend to need to get the generic ones, the universal fit ones, because they don't actually make any for Harley Davidson. Right. The problem that you're going to have is actually getting the bar mitt over that's your bar grip itself, over the brake lever in this end, or the clutch lever on this end, and then for it to actually have a tight fit around here. So what I ended up doing, I ended up pulling these two bits together and sewing them together like that, pulling these two bits together and sewing them like that. You could still see the indicator popping through, and it worked effectively. Obviously this tie wrap went all the way underneath and everything like that. It worked very well in fact. It kept the rain off because this is made of sort of Gore-Tex material. So I would say if you're going to buy the bar mitts, make sure they're waterproof as well. And they've got some kind of thermal lining, thermal capability within them. But the real issue is stopping any draft getting in there. So you need to sew them up. You need to make like a custom fit bar mitt for your Harley or for your motorcycle, whatever it is. I would even suggest as going so far as getting some duct tape and wrapping it around here and really closing off that any gaps in there to stop any airflow getting through. That's going to be your best bet. Are they effective? Yes, they are actually. They're really effective at blocking out the rain, blocking out the wind, in making sure that you've got a pocket of air around you, around your fingers, so that you're out of the elements really. And that's the best thing that's going to keep your hands warm. Some decent winter weight gloves and also that pocket of air. Now, it's also the very cheap option. These are only going to be about £15, $20, something like that, depending on which ones you get. So you compare that to, you know, heated gloves at £120, $150, to this $20 option, £15 option. It's a no-brainer really. Yes, they're not cool, I'll give you that, but they are effective. And when you talk about long distance riding or a long commute in the morning and really freezing temperatures, it's the functionality of something that I really care for, not necessarily what it looks like. Okay, so the other thing you've got to consider is how did they perform in terms of, were they too cumbersome? Did they enable me to use the controls very well? Okay, so what I found it was the manipulation of the switches on both the right-hand switchgear and the left-hand switchgear, the buttons really, that I found a bit cumbersome. I always found that the mitt got in the way. I had to stretch over, that kind of thing. The actual brake lever and the clutch lever were never an issue. It was only ever the buttons that I had to reach around and almost move the mitt out of the way. The other thing that I noticed was the activation and deactivation of the cruise control. Whilst I could move my finger around here to activate the cruise control, what was happening was that every time I moved my hand out of the bar mitt on the right hand side or moved it ever so slightly, it would pull on the brake lever, or it would accidentally just put some pressure on the throttle, and that would deactivate the cruise control. So that was one of the big issues. These bar mitts have got to be semi-rigid. They've got to be structurally hard enough that they form a shell around your grip, but at the same time you need to be able to move them around a little bit. In an ideal sense, you'd want them a little bit bigger and permanently mounted here all the way around. They'd come all the way around here. This is you know, something for an accessory manufacturer out there to actually come up with a bar mitt that is good, has got good thermal qualities, weather protection, waterproof protection for a Harley Sport Glide, or any of the Softails really. And I put it to them that actually these would be a really good option, and you can, you know, put whatever labeling on them. You can even make them Harley Davidson specific, whatever, but I think they would be a really good option. Now, which is better in terms of actual manipulation of the controls? The hard wind deflector, let's say from Memphis Shades, or this this bar mitt? Well, I've got to say, on previous bikes that I've had bar mitts, and on this one, the actual manipulation of the controls was a bit cumbersome, as I've just said. However, on other bikes that I've had just the handguards, they're a lot better. You've got an unobstructed access to the throttle and to the brake lever. So if I just take that off, your handguard would come here, and you've just got a straight grip onto whatever you needed. So it's from that point of view, it's good. I mean, I would say if you're not really going to go on really long distances, or you're not going to go in very, very cold temperatures on your bike, I would say just the Memphis Shades handguards, hand deflectors, wind deflectors are probably the way to go. And they look pretty cool as well, I've got to say. If you're looking for anything more serious, then I think you have to kind of go back old school a little bit and go back to these. They keep the rain off really effectively. They keep the wind off really effectively. You've got a pocket of warm air around your hands, which is really good. If you can block off all the drafts by sewing, by wrapping it in duct tape as well, that'll make it even better. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. But say this is my sort of experience of riding with bar mitts on the Harley Sport Glide. They do work. They are a little bit cumbersome. You do have to get used to them a little bit. I still think they're a better option than the Handguards for serious cold riding and long distance riding. The great thing about these as well, you can ride in a little bit warmer temperature, just above freezing, but you could also ride with thinner gloves as well, lighter weight gloves. That makes it easier. Right, well, I hope you found that useful. Please like, share, subscribe, leave loads of comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about these bar mitts as well, whether they're cool or not. But so they are a little bit cumbersome to reach all the switches and buttons, but they do work. Right, check out the website, RevelatorAlf.com, and I'll catch you on the next video coming very soon. Ta-da now.